is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Microsoft Surface RT tablet. This is running Windows 8 RT, and we'll talk about what RT means versus regular Windows 8 Professional. But first off, it's a 10.6-inch tablet running on a Tegra 3 quad-core CPU. Optional touch cover right here, highly recommended. Incredibly thin, incredibly light, incredibly unlike anything you've ever typed on before, most likely, though there's also an optional clicky keyboard if you want it. Good looking device, magnesium casing, flip stand built in, so you can actually prop it up on the table and use it easily. USB 2.0 port, does a lot of things a Windows machine does, costs a lot less, very portable, 1.5 pounds, and we're going to look at it now. So the Surface tablet is finally here. Again, this is the Windows 8 RT version. There will be a Windows 8 Pro version, and we'll talk about what that means in a little bit. 10.6-inch tablet, 400 nit brightness display, 10.6 inches. Obviously it's a touchscreen. Now this is a touchscreen only. This does not work with a digital pen, unlike Windows tablets from years gone by that you're familiar with that have dual digitizers. In fact, they used to always have pens and then they added touch later onto those. This guy is touch only. The same is true of some of the Windows 8 Pro touchscreen tablets that are out there. They are just touchscreens, and again, we'll get into that a little bit more in a while. Interesting thing about this is the touch cover. This guy is, depending on how you buy it, it either adds $100 to the price tag if you buy a bundle with the tablet, obviously the best deal, but then you can only get it in black, and Microsoft's offering a whole bunch of bright colors like pink and cyan and all that kind of thing. So if you want to buy the tablet just by itself for $499 for the 32 gig, you can add on for $119 one of these guys in a cool and funky color. There's also a touch type keyboard that actually has tactile keys. We'll talk about that as well. This is available as well in a 64 gig version. Currently Microsoft's selling that as a bundle, so you get the 64 gig plus this touch type cover, and that's going to set you back $699. So again, we're looking at $499 for just the tablet itself, $599 for tablet plus touch type keyboard, and $699 for the 64 gig plus the touch cover. Not cheap, but then again, it is competitive with the iPad pricing, and it should work out a little cheaper than the Asus Vivo RT, which is otherwise known as the TF600, the transformer tablet that runs Windows RT rather than running Android. Pricing on that one's still a little bit confusing right now. It's $599, but then supposedly you can log into Asus's website by December 31st to get yourself a free keyboard dock at some point. I don't know. Other merchants are selling the keyboard dock separately for a $750 bundle. Alright, now that we've got the pricing down, what do you get for your money? You get a 10.6-inch display, 1366 by 768, 400 nits of brightness, Gorilla Glass 2, IPS, beautiful display, wide viewing angles. I'm not going to complain that it doesn't have a Retina resolution here, because Microsoft has tuned ClearType really well. Take a look around. We have a capacitive home button here, and that takes you back to this screen right here, no matter where you are, whether you're in desktop mode or in modern UI mode, as the live tile interface is now called. You can see we've got a built-in kickstand on this side. Very nice. Also all metal, magnesium, again, casing here. Sounds nice. Makes a really nice sound when you open and when you close it as well. Sounds like a nicely tuned car. And then when you flip it open, and hidden in here, really hard to see, but there's a micro SD card slot right there. And there's our little 64 gig XC 64 gig card. So yes, it works with high capacity cards. We've got one tucked right in there. And here you see these interesting little inset electrical connectors. This has a charging connector that's something like a MagSafe connector on a MacBook Pro. So you don't have to type your USB port, and it comes with a compact wall wart style charger. Here's your USB 2.0 port right here. Micro HDMI, so you can plug it into your TV or your monitor if you want to watch movies bigger. And this is one of the two speaker holes up here. Bottom edge, we have the dock and connector for the keyboard. And on this edge right here, there's a little bevel so you can actually lift up that kickstand a little easier. Volume controls, 3.5mm audio jack, and there's your other speakerphone hole. And up top, we have the power button and two microphone holes. There's a front-facing camera above the display, and on the back there's another camera over here. And pretty much you Matte black metal finish right here. Good looking product, really good looking product. Put together nicely, perfect edges. A little over a third of an inch thick, so quite slim. Lovely looking tablet, excellent fit and finish, weighs 1.5 pounds, and the keyboard adds another 8 ounces. So quite portable still, in keeping with some Android tablets there and the iPad itself. And here we have the touch cover. Again, that's the one you'll get if you get the bundle with the keyboard dock. And you see keys here, right? But notice, this is basically a kind of felt-like fabric here. There's nothing that actually moves. This is like a capacitive keyboard itself, but it actually works really well. It's astounding. You do feel the raised edges of each key here, so you have tactile sense of where you are. There's two little locators for the keys. And Windows 8 does a very nice job of giving you auditory feedback, nice little click-clack of the keyboard, so you really can get typing on this quite easily. And here's something I thought was kind of pointless at first, and that's the trackpad with two little virtual buttons down here, buttonless style trackpad. A little bit hard to see because it's so subtly outlined, but you know, once you have this clicked together and you've been using the keyboard, you find that you use this an awful lot actually, instead of reaching up to touch the screen. And especially if you're in desktop mode where the targets for touch are a little bit softer, this is more precise and it's easier to get a right click going than by pressing and holding on the screen. It's only 3 millimeters thick, so inconsequential. Pretty much like Apple's smart cover, only this one actually does something. So we got the electrical connectors here, and there's a magnet in there as well. And then the back is also a felt-like finish. And once again, you can get this in a variety of very bright colors if you don't like black. So how does it go together? Well, it just sucks right onto the tablet, and we'll let you hear the sound of that. That really just grabs on there, and yes, just like you've seen, you can indeed pick it up and hold it by the keyboard. It is a very, very strong magnet, much more secure than the Asus Transformer Android tablets, whose keyboard and dock never really stay together very well. It's something that has been improved for their Windows product. Now if you want to get it off, you just grab from an edge, so it's not impossible to get off. If you try to just pull it straight like this, you're not going to do it. So you just start from an edge, yank it right off, and then it comes off super easy. So beautifully, beautifully done. So now we just deploy the kickstand, and we've got a very functional kind of keyboard setup here, and this is what it looks like from the side. Non-adjustable kickstand angle. I find that it works for most scenarios pretty well, and the rear camera is actually angled 20 degrees up, so you don't have to worry about it being aimed at the table if you're using it with the kickstand deployed, which is pretty nice. That's what it looks like that way. And some folks have complained that, well, you can't really use that kickstand when it's in the lap, can you? Well, you can. Guess what? Because whenever you take the keyboard and you fold it behind and move it away, it has a sensor and it knows. So now it's deactivated the keyboard, and you can actually use it just like that, and it creates a table stand or a lap stand right there, a surface for you. Pretty cool. Really nice the way Microsoft thought of all the little ergonomic details for the usability of the product. Now, for those of you who are near a Microsoft store, or one of the Microsoft kiosks that they're opening up in malls now and through the holidays, I suggest before you dismiss this keyboard, if you think, wow, I can't type on something that weird, give it a try first before you decide. And then, if you decide that you don't like this keyboard cover, there's one that's a little bit thicker, costs $10 more, and it gives you actual little tactile moving keys like you would expect. Now, there's not a huge amount of travel there, and there's still edge-to-edge keys. It's not an island-style isolated keyboard, but gives you a little extra tactileness for those of you who still feel like you need that. So let's look at the Windows aspect of this. Obviously we have Windows 8 right here, and this is Windows 8 RT. And what does that mean? That means that this has been compiled for ARM processors. ARM processors are used in mobile devices like your Android tablets, your iPad, and Windows RT tablets, something like the Tegra 3. So your existing Windows software, your Photoshop, your Corel Paint, those kinds of things that you get on installed DVDs, that will not work on this because those are compiled for Intel processors or Intel compatible, including AMD CPUs as well, obviously. So no, you can't put regular Photoshop that you have a disk for on this. You can't put Corel Paint on this. You cannot put Battlefield or Modern Warfare 3. Nope, that's not going to happen. What you are going to be able to put on here are these Windows apps right here that run in what's called the modern UI now in Smart Tiles, and that's your selection of stuff that's available right here in the Microsoft Store. Now, just like with Android and with the iPad, a lot of these apps are free. Like you've got Netflix here, you've got Skype available, excellent New York Times application, stumbled upon. A lot of good titles are popping up. We've got our Angry Birds in space already. Some neat games are appearing. The top tier games are often $10 on this. Some of them are $5. There are not a whole lot of apps that you actually have to pay for yet. I'm sure some of those will pop up in the future. Kindle is available now. It's not too bad, not as slick as it is on the iPad or on Android just yet. Hopefully they'll improve that. Nook is coming soon. So it's not like you won't have apps to choose from. Right now there's about 3,600 apps available, and that's just actually as of release day for this product, which was October 26th. So now that the product is actually available to consumers, I expect to see a lot more. At first it looks a lot like where Android tablets were after the iPad came out and established quickly, and there were a lot of apps available, and everybody said, well, Android tablets are nice, but there's no apps. And now look how many apps there are. There's quite a few apps out there for Android and Android tablets that are optimized for the tablet screen. And you're fooling yourself if you think that's not going to happen here for Windows 8 and Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft's ecosystem is the biggest in the world for Windows. Developers obviously will develop for this, and even if you don't have an RT tablet, so you have a full Windows 8 desktop or notebook computer, you still get Metro here. You can still use all of these applications. And a lot of people are going to want to do that because they're very easy to use. They're very graphically pleasing. They're very immediate. So I wouldn't worry too much about the lack of applications. From now, for the first 3 months, yes, some of your favorites won't be there, but a year from now, I think it's going to be much less of an issue. Even look at Windows Phone. Windows Phone is right now a phone operating system not many people are using, but thanks to Microsoft's real push with developers, there's 100,000 apps available for Microsoft Windows Phone. So you can imagine how quickly it's probably going to roll along for this. Any app you're interested in, you want to download or learn more about, you just tap on it and you can see more. And if it's free, you just tap install, and it keeps track of everything that you've downloaded. And it also keeps track, as long as you log in with the same Windows Live account to your different Windows 8 computers, you can see the same list of applications. So if you have a favorite list of apps, you don't have to refine them again. You can just choose which ones you want to download onto your other Windows PC or tablet, which is pretty cool. The way Windows 8 works, you do log in with the Windows Live ID, and that way you can do all the cloud things. And then that's actually a pretty nice thing. If you've got contacts in Windows Live or Outlook.com, it's going to pick those right up. If you've got stuff stored on SkyDrive, all your photos you've taken, say, with a Windows Phone will actually appear here too, if you set up your Windows Phone to sync those photos up there. If you have an Xbox Music account, video account, or old Zune account, all of your music's going to appear in here. So it integrates very nicely. And it doesn't just integrate with Windows stuff too. This is actually the People tile, and it keeps switching between all of their various pictures. You can see we have teeny little icons up here in the corner for Facebook, Skype, Twitter. You can also add LinkedIn here. So if you want to add all your accounts in there, you can. And then they all show up in your contacts and in your feeds. So instead of having to have a Twitter client or a Facebook client, it's integrated in this What's New panel that shows me everything from my Twitter and Facebook feeds, and I can actually retweet, I can reply here, and I can make new posts. Then you can still get apps like Metro Twit if you want a different Twitter client. Obviously, I'm sure Facebook's going to have a client available for this separately if you want a more immersive experience. But it's really neat that it's actually integrated into the People Hub with all of my contacts. Got an email client here. The interesting thing is this comes with Office 2013 RT, and that includes Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and OneNote, but not Outlook. So you're going to be using this built-in client, but it's not a bad client at all. And you can see right here, I'm just looking at my Hotmail account. Visually easy to use, pleasing. I can switch between my other accounts that are down here. I've got my Gmail account set up, for example. Supports most major kind of email clients. Still, this is not a business level product. It doesn't have the folder management and the fancy features of full Outlook. So that's something to keep in mind if you're thinking about RT. If you need this primarily for business reasons, if you need Active Directory service, not so much. Obviously, it will work with Exchange though. You also get a calendaring application built in. Nice, easy to use. Again, this works with Exchange, this works with your Live account, this also works with Gmail, Google Calendar. I've got Google Calendar set up in here. So fairly functional, definitely just fine for home use and personal use. We've also got a photo viewer on board now. The one that's embedded here in the modern UI has very basic editing skills, and here you can see I've got stuff from my pictures library, SkyDrive, anything from Facebook, Flickr. It integrates with a whole bunch of services. So now I'm looking at one of my photos that's stored locally here. And I can do rotation, I can do crop, so not a whole lot of stuff going on. There's slideshow, there's a lot of viewing oriented stuff that's available here. I would love to see some more advanced photo editors on board. Right now you do get MS Paint. And that's about it. And you also get apps for sports and news. Hugely graphically appealing. I think this is what's going to be popular with folks who are buying tablets for media consumption and for general education. So this is the news application. You just swipe sideways, you get more articles. Anything you're interested in, you just tap on it. Simple, easy to use, consistent. The UI is the same across all of these things. So it's very much a magazine layout. It's just lovely stuff. Very easy to read. And we have our music and our video applications here. Now, this integrates obviously with Xbox Music and Zoom Music if you had a Zoom account, and you can look at stuff. This is stuff that I have actually on my Xbox account showing up, and I can stream these off the cloud, so I don't have to store them locally. I can if I choose to, but I don't have to. And we have Now Playing, and you get some freebies here. You can stream some music, you get a choice of artists every day, and you can just either type in a selection or look at everybody who's available. Eminem, Lil Wayne, Kanye West, Drake, Nickelback, that kind of stuff. Changes. And then you go shopping for music if you wish with Microsoft and with their service. Now anything that I have stored on my card does not show up by default. I can get to it, but I have to use the desktop, which is a little bit weird. That's not integrating the card or external hard drives or flash drives. The same thing goes for the video player. It's showing me videos that I have on my Xbox account, formerly my Zune account, and also locally stored videos. And that means stuff stored on internal flash storage. So let's see how that plays, and so you can hear the speaker as well. Speakers, rather. So here it's playing. Absolutely beautiful experience. Really nice display. Enjoying it a lot. Speakers, volume, it depends on the track that you're playing. You don't have much gain on this one, but right now we're 95%. So not super duper loud, but very nice stereo separation and nice quality sound for the speakers. And of course there is a headphone jack, so you can plug in external speakers while you use your headphones. Standard again for Metro, you get a stock application, you get a travel application, there's a camera application. Front and rear cameras, 720p recording, really does a nice job with Skype. It's not something that you would want to use otherwise. Microsoft doesn't even state the resolution of the cameras. I'm guessing they're somewhere between a 1 and 2 megapixel. And you can see that we have Office apps installed. That's the big selling point compared to other mobile OS tablets on the market. You get full, real Office applications. And you can see it just switched over to the desktop mode here. And we'll just start open up the document that we had going here. And this is a pretty graphically heavy document too, for a Word document. But you can see we've got all the menus here you would expect to see from Office. In ribbon fashion. So this isn't dumbed down. Like Windows phones have had Office always, but it hasn't been anything like what you would see on your desktop. In this case, you're not making compromises. You've got it all. And likewise, there's Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So you've got your full Windows 7 style desktop here. Everything that you get on your regular computer running Windows 8, you get here. You can see here's File Manager that you're used to seeing. Access to control panels. All remarkably similar to the desktop for a mobile OS operating system. It's pretty cool. So there's a lot of consistency there. Less of a learning curve for folks who've learned Windows 8 or even know Windows 7. This is familiar. Again, you don't get full Outlook on this. You don't get Windows Media Player. You get those standalone media players, the video player, the music player. There you don't have the ability to add all the codecs and stuff like you would from Windows Media Player. But you do get Paint, you get Calculator, all the little apps that you're used to getting are available on here. So it's kind of really cool for a mobile OS machine to have all this. And this is particularly handy when you plug in something like external storage. You can plug in CD drives, DVD drives, flash drives, external hard drives. Now, if you're using a CD drive, you're going to need one that's self-powered or a powered hub to actually spin it up, because those require a lot of power. And here's the other thing right now with RT, since you don't have Windows Media Player, it really doesn't know what to do with CDs or DVDs. There is no player that actually plays CDs or DVDs. So really, it's mostly for archival purposes if you want to see stuff that you've archived onto disks. I probably will see some third-party stuff that actually has some capabilities in there so you can do something with it. So now we have our Western Digital Passport external USB hard drive formatted NTFS. Since this is a Windows product, you don't have to worry about NTFS compatibility. Yes, it is compatible. I'm going to plug it into the USB port. Plays a cute little sound. And then it opens up the folder right here so you can see the contents of my hard drive, and say we want to look at a picture that's on there. Now if we right click on the picture, we can choose what to open it with. We can just open it with Paint, with the Photo Viewer, which is our modern UI application, or with Windows Photo Viewer, which you know from the old Windows days, which is that right there. And you have options to print. And yes, since we have USB, you can print. There are drivers for printers with this. You can email it, burn it, so on. And even though media files don't appear in the video and music players, we can play them this way. So there's my weird tune that I'm playing right off of my hard drive. And now I swipe back, and that's how you get back to the last application you're using. In this case, it was the desktop. And we'll check out a video file. Now we'll check out a 1080p movie trailer here. Higher than the internal panel resolution, but handy if you're going to use the HDMI Out feature on this, and it plays just fine. So yes, you can play stuff off of cards and off of hard drives, even though it doesn't automatically appear in the music and video players. It plays most forms of MPEG-4 video. Now, that can get pretty ambiguous. There's many different ways to wrap up an AVI file or an MPEG-4 or an iTunes format file, but pretty much standard MPEG-4 is a go. And when you're done using your external hard drive, you know how it is with Windows, you're supposed to say eject and put away safely, and we have that right here too. Again, feeling very much like a, shall we say, real computer. And this is obviously where the trackpad is handy, because these touch targets here are relatively small. It's not as bad as using Windows 7, but still. So how about web browsing? Very quick on this. You get Internet Explorer 10, but you get two different versions of it. If you're running it in the modern UI here, it runs full screen mode, and if you're running it in desktop mode, well, it looks like it does on a desktop. You can resize the window and see more menu options. So we'll take a look at that. So here we've got it in full screen mode, because that is the only mode we can pin it to our start menu there, and you'll have a little live tile for this website if you want. You have a refresh button. Your URL bar is down here, so you don't have to reach your hand over the screen if you're using a touch screen, which is kind of awkward. You have a back button, and you have some tools right here. Find on page or view this on desktop, and we'll switch to that mode in a minute so you can see what that's like. But speed is excellent on this. Clarity is quite good. Again, the clear type works really well. And yes, it supports Adobe Flash. Now what it's going to do is, whether you're using this in the desktop mode or you're using it right here in the modern UI mode, is it's going to look to see first if an HTML5 version of a video is available. YouTube has both, for example, for mobile devices. They use HTML5, also high quality. It'll do that first because that's much more lightweight. It's kind of the way we're all moving now away from Adobe Flash, for better or worse, sooner or later. And if that's not available, as long as Microsoft has it on their list of websites, which is a slightly goofy way to do things, then they'll say, aha, you're on Hulu, you need to have Flash. It's going to go right to the Flash version. So we'll take a look at our Optimus G review right here. And again, this is like using IE on the desktop. Everything that, in terms of compatibility that you could expect, is right here. Runs really nicely. And we are running the full Adobe Flash version, so we'll switch up to 720p. Full screen. So in this way you feel more like you're using a regular PC. Very nice experience. Good control. Now if you want to view this in desktop IE, or get to your tabs, again once you swipe up you can see all the tabs are available there. You can either choose take me to desktop IE, or you can just do it when you're in desktop and launch the web browser. But here, the usual, again, Windows experience you'd expect. This normal window, you've got your little settings that you would see on a Windows desktop. All the stuff that you're familiar with is there. Pretty cool. Resize the window as you see fit. So, nice web browsing experience in terms of compatibility. If you want to cycle between running applications, you can either pull from the side and get to the last thing you've used, or if you pull and then kind of tuck it away, you get this whole list of all your different apps, so you can choose from everything that's running. And yes, all these things are running on 2 gigs of RAM on a 1.3 gigahertz Tegra 3 just fine. As you can see, there's no lag here. I haven't rebooted this machine since yesterday. It's not like a Windows desktop. You don't feel like you're supposed to shut it down every time you're done using it. It's more like using an iPad or an Android tablet. You just let it go to sleep. Battery life, by the way, so far we've been getting 8 to 9 hours of actual use time, and we've been using this pretty heavily since we've been testing out media playback a lot and all the advanced features syncing with SkyDrive and other sources. So it looks to be competitive with other tablets on the market. If you want to get to your settings, same as with all Windows 8 things, you just swipe in from this side, and then you have your basic settings, you got your start menu. If you hit search, you can look for all of your applications that are installed right here. Quicker way of getting it. And this basically replaces the start menu for Windows 8. So all in all, it really offers a lot of competition, I think, particularly to Android tablets. Not as much as to the iPad. The iPad's still about really fast, instant on, ease of use, whole lot of applications to choose from. I don't really want to try to replace my computer with it, but I know a lot of people who buy Android tablets, particularly the Transformer style Android tablets from ASUS, are looking to replace their notebook computer. And this guy obviously goes a long way with the Office suite, with the USB port. Very robust multitasking. Feels a lot like a little computer, but at the same time it's visually beautiful, it's very easy to use, very simple and very intuitive. So speaking of other tablets, let's do a little size comparison. So here it is with my Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1, 10.1 inch Android tablet. So half an inch less diagonal space on Android tablets versus Microsoft product, and you can see the footprint's going to show it's going to be a little bit longer because of that, but otherwise fairly comparable in size. The Galaxy is actually a teeny bit taller. So not too much of a size shock difference because you're already used to a little bit longer 16:9 aspect ratio if you've been using an Android tablet. And now here it is next to the new iPad. New iPad a little bit taller, 4:3 aspect ratio, so you're talking about a slightly different experience there. Same weight and same thickness just about, and in terms of length, you can see that the Windows tablet is a bit longer since it has that different aspect ratio. And now we have it near its slightly bigger friend right here. This is the Samsung Series 7 Slate. This was a reference design for Windows 8 development last year. Still a fine tablet, Intel Core i5, so this is full Windows 8 right here versus RT. 11.6 inch display. So if you're going to hold that, you know, in portrait mode to read a book, starts to feel really awkwardly tall. It is a very long device. Now 11.6 inches makes a lot more sense if you're going to be using this as a computer replacement, if you're going to do graphic arts where a little bit bigger screen is always going to help when you're drawing and painting, that kind of thing. But this is probably still going to be one of the lightest and more compact Windows 8 potential tablets on the market. Some of them are coming through as heavy as 3 pounds if they're convertible or transformer designs where the whole package is going to be that heavy. This guy weighs about 2 pounds, so I'm sure we'll see something again like this at 11.6 inches, but it gives you an idea. Full Intel, you're talking about 2 pounds at its very lightest, and generally speaking, probably going to be a bigger display on a lot of these. Now, we also will be seeing some 10.6 inch machines that are running Windows 8, not RT, that run on Intel Atom CPUs, and those are going to be priced around between $800 and $1,000 or so. So that does get you the right to run Intel applications, your Photoshop, your Corel Paint, all those kind of things, but you know how Atom CPUs are. Then it's not going to run Photoshop in a killer way. If you want to get into full Intel Core i5 and i7 ULV CPUs in this kind of form factor, probably not so much. Again, you're going to look at something a little bit bigger, definitely heavier, and those are going to run you from $1,000 to $1,600. And all that discussion about form factors, even competing platforms, gets into the, well, who is this product for? This is still primarily for the folks who are also considering the iPad, and I think even more so Android tablets. I say more so for Android because, again, folks who buy Android tablets tend to be looking more for laptop replacements, things that have USB ports, that have keyboard options, built-in keyboard transformer style things, robust multitasking, that kind of thing going on. This is not for somebody who needs a complete Windows computer that can run all Windows software that you buy off the shelf at your local Best Buy or wherever it is that you go shopping for your Windows software. That said, I think there's a big market for this. Obviously, this guy is still noticeably cheaper than the full Intel Windows 8 tablets that are hitting the market. So for those of you who are price conscious and who say, I don't really need that stuff. I need an office suite. I need to play my videos. I need to watch some music. I need access to cloud services. I want my social networking. I want to play some games, I want to get my Netflix, my Hulu Plus, access to my Amazon stuff. You've got all of that right here. Again, for a starting price, that's the same as a higher-end Android tablet or the iPad, $499. So for that price, definitely, I say this is a gorgeous operating system to use. It's obviously pretty easy to use. Some things are a little more hidden than they should be. For example, there's no little hints. There should be little hints that say, do that, so you can get to your settings, or do this to get your multitasking going. However, once you do it, you'll start to remember. But there's a lot of other little shortcuts here that might be a little confusing, and always your desktop is available right there. It says desktop. That's more clear-cut. But in general, very easy to use, a lot of fun, visually beautiful. 1366 by 768 on this particular display is not causing me to wish for an iPad Retina level display. ClearType is very sharp on it. A great tablet for both media consumption and for light productivity with Office, that kind of thing. So that's the Microsoft Surface RT tablet. Again, it's available now in limited quantities. It might take a little while for you to find it, depending on how quickly you want to get one of these. Starts at $499, goes up to $599 if you want it with the keyboard cover included, and $699 if you want it, get the 64 gig version. All in all, a recommended product, really fun, easy to use, and a nice alternative to Android. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.